If you're feeling a little bit behind, I want to have a chat with you. I'll be honest about my year. I didn't create the collection I've always dreamed of. I didn't have the output I wanted, and I didn't accept very many clients to really push that forward at all. After pretty much not showing up for myself all year, I basically dumped a ton of money into a workshop that I loved at the end of the year, and I've had a little bit of momentum since. But I really ended up with 2 alterations and 1 custom client for the year. And that's out of 12 months. And I'm saying that not as a confession, but more like context. Because for a lot of us, this time of year can go one of two ways. You can think about how many things you didn't do in the previous year and how many things you have to do in the new year. And that's a lot of weight to put on yourself, especially as a single entrepreneur or someone with a day job with entrepreneurial dreams. It's a lot. It's so easy to think, why am I not doing as much as this person over here? Why can't I get over that hump? Here's one of the realizations I had this year. Design isn't a title. Design isn't a degree. Design is an action word. You actually have to show up for yourself and be consistent with your creativity to actually be a designer. It's the same concept as Sister Act 2. Best quote ever, live your life by it. If a singer wakes up and wants to be a singer, you're a singer. So sing. In this case, design. And the uncomfortable truth is, I've not been a designer. I've not been spending my free time being a designer. So how can I move the needle forward and get all these things done if I'm not doing the work? I'm not building the momentum because I'm not showing up for myself. I've got the room, I've got the tools, I've got the degree, and sometimes I have the time. I definitely have a lot more time than I'm spending on it. I'll tell you that much. Another truth, though, is that just because you're not designing doesn't mean you've failed. Just because 2025 wasn't your year for your big collection doesn't mean you're behind. It just means that something's in the way. And I think 2026 should be the year of figuring out what that is. For a lot of people, the obstacle is just motivation. If there's not something at the end of the rainbow, we're not interested in starting the walk in the first place. It's called extrinsic motivation. It's a whole thing. It's very reward based. So you have to find ways to work around that. For others, it might straight up be you don't have the time. You don't have the resources, you don't have the connections, you don't have the network. And a lot of those things can be attacked one piece at a time. In my own case, I often think about this. If it's not even going to become something, like, what is the point of me starting it? And that's what keeps us in our day jobs and not doing things on the side and just moving through the things that we're required to do. And then we're suddenly just overwhelmed with how things are shaking out. Sometimes the hardest part about designing is just letting it exist without having to monetize it or justify it or even tell anyone else about it. I wouldn't be making this video right now if I hadn't been doing 4 or 5 months work of just drawing and sketching and traveling and really trying something new. Because what I was doing before wasn't working. Alterations are not fashion design. Custom costumes are not fashion design. And if I'm not actively working on the fashion design skill set, I'm not actively moving the needle to be a fashion designer. I'm not being a designer, so why would anyone refer to me as one? She's just the girl who sews. She's just creative. And both those things are great. They're just not what I asked for and not what I want to do. If I look at my year honestly, it's not like I did nothing. I spent the fall developing bath and body products for a vendor event. I traveled in August to a workshop and met some vendors. I actually went to a creator conference in November. I served on the board at a local museum. I did a lot of cool things. I wasn't designing. I wasn't working with clients. I wasn't in the studio sketching. I really wasn't sewing, but for a handful of times. But that gap matters. So here's what I'm taking into 2026. Design does not start with a collection. It doesn't start at the launch. It starts when you show up for yourself. So 15 minutes a day sketching with a pencil and paper can add up to over 5,000 minutes or 90 hours where you showed up for yourself this year. One day it could be a motif that you loved. One day it could be a design that you thought was really cool. One day you could sketch something that is a full concept, hair, hands, feet, fully rendered because you have a couple extra minutes to spare. But if you apply this logic to really just showing up for yourself in little increments every day, it's going to add up over time. If you show up for yourself 5,000 minutes, 90 hours by next year, our conversation for January 1st, 2027 is going to be very different. Sometimes things work out. Sometimes they don't. And sometimes you never even really tried. But nothing can work out if you don't even start. I wanted to make sure I got this video out so that you could get those 15 minutes in today. 15 minutes where you show up for yourself. Get that pencil, get that paper. You can even do chalk and marker, whatever you need. 15 minutes to show up for yourself. This is just the beginning. Happy New Year!